The human brain is hardwired for story. We think, learn, and retain information in images that our brain translates into meaning. Through story, our ancestors learned vicariously the value of mistakes. They created social rules and belief systems, tried to make sense out of life's chaos. In his book, The Storytelling Animal, Jonathan Gottschall calls us Homo fictus, fiction man. And he states that we are creatures of story and that nearly every part of our life is touched by story. Now, neuroscientists have recently discovered a different kind of nerve cell in our brain, and they're called mirror neurons. These neurons wire and fire together whether we are performing an action or watching somebody else. And they wire and fire in a way that the action is mirrored as well as the intent. It's mirror neurons that allows human beings to have empathy or walk a mile in another person's shoes. 23 years ago, when I was teaching my last group of 6th graders, I didn't know about the brain science behind the power of story, but I did know that the majority of my students were struggling with some adversity in their life that made it hard for them to focus on learning. Each day, we created a community circle where any student could tell a story, and the rest of us listened deeply to them. That year, my students learned to appreciate each other's unique experiences, but they also understood that they were not alone in how they thought and how they felt. When we listen to a story, we draw from the memory files of our brain and connect that story to something that we're familiar with. But we also activate the emotion and desire centers of our brains. Neuroscientists know that the human brain is not rational. And so it's not the external experience, but instead how we think and how we feel that determines our response. When we tell a story from the past, only 50% of that story is true. Each time we tell it, we embellish and reconstruct that story to reflect our current perspective. Our brain doesn't know the difference between past, present, and future. If we can tell a story from the past with new awareness, we can transform our lives. Dr. David Walsh says, whoever tells a story defines the culture. 60 years or more ago, we gave up the role of storyteller to mass media. If we are going to transform our future, we have to claim back the role of storyteller. Story transcends cultures, transcends perceived differences, and taps into our universal human truth. Imagine if we gather together as a community and deeply listen to each person's unique story, and then converged the wisdom and the knowledge that we gained, why we could honor our future, we could refocus in the present and create a new collective future for ourselves. Thank you very much.